Modes of heat transfer, A primer. There are three primary modes of heat transfer. These are conduction, convection, and radiation. Let us begin with conduction. Conduction is the transfer of heat between solid surfaces. Different types of solids can change how fast or how slow heat transfers from one solid surface to another. Time is also a factor in conduction. Some materials get hot immediately while others take a very long time to get hot. Materials that get hot very fast are called thermal conductors. Materials that take a long time to get hot are called thermal insulators. Looking at the conduction diagram in detail shows that there are two different temperatures in the solid surface. When heat is applied to the solid surface and temperature is measured on both sides, it will show two different temperatures denoted as T1 and T2. If heat is applied for a very long time, T1 and T2 will be equal after a certain point. The time it takes for T1 to equal T2 is dependent on the material of the solid surface. Understanding conduction has paved the way for many different technological advances we have today. A notable piece of technology that was created with the understanding of heat conduction is the specialized tiles that cover space shuttles. Re-entry into Earth generates a large amount of heat, and by adapting these special tiles into the space shuttles, the chances of the shuttle burning up on re-entry is slim to none. Another method of heat transfer is convection. Convection is the heat transfer from a solid surface to a fluid. The fluid in most cases is air. Convection works by having the heat from a solid surface transmit to the surrounding air. Please note that there are three types of temperatures in this scenario. The first is T1, or the temperature of the solid surface. Second is the adjacent air next to the surface, or T2, and lastly there is the ambient air temperature, which is a great distance away from T2. Convection is important because it can be used for both cooling and heating. A basic example of convection being used for heating is the portable heating fans that are used during winter time. On the cooling side, putting a hot cup of coffee on the table for a short time will cause it to cool and be equal to the ambient air temperature. Understanding convection has allowed advances in cooling. A notable example is the CPU coolers in computers. It is important that there is a frame of reference when it comes to convection. Understand that when using a CPU cooler, the CPU is being cooled but the surrounding area is being heated. Lastly, let us take a look at radiation. Radiation is heat transfer by means of electromagnetic radiation. The electromagnetic radiation has enough energy to cause molecular movement, which in turn generates heat. The most common example of radiation is the light that comes from the sun. For reference, the sun contains UV light, visible light, and infrared light. Sunlight contains energy from the electromagnetic spectrum that is so strong that prolonged exposure to sunlight may cause sunburn or worse, melanoma. Understanding radiation and its effects has led to fears of UV exposure. A method to mitigate UV exposure is the use of SPF 15 lotion or equivalent variants. I hope that this quick primer of the modes of heat transfer has taught you not only the basics of heat transfer but their impact on modern-day technologies. I urge you to have a critical eye in the world around you and see what daily use items were invented thanks in part to the knowledge of these modes of heat transfer.
I ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and do not forget to have a nice day.